Hi again, it's Jeff Peters from GamerPops, and today we're looking at the wonderful 101. Rather chaotic and frantic little game on the Nintendo Wii U. And right now I'm just in the middle being bombarded by a bunch of nasty missiles. So in the Wonderful 101, you play as, a number of different hero characters, each with special abilities, and they gain followers. You see this little crowd that's following me that help them do various little things, like in this case, draw a hammer, or, and we'll see a little bit later, certain other weapons.
Commander Nelson, enemy reinforcements approaching. I'm reading 12 carriers and 200 assault UFOs.
Swarm the Virgin Victory!
Oh no! We will be left without escape!
Gun stations, open fire. Shoot down those hostiles and defend the Virgin Victory.
Yes, you saw that right. One of the characters was holding a cheeseburger in his hand. The characters in this game are quite quirky, and they have fun little bits of dialogue like we see there. We'll see a little bit more example later on. So here we're going to actually get into a shooting part of the game, where instead of the normal, like here you see I'm actually drawing on the gamepad or the right analog stick to make a hand so that I grab a hold of this steering wheel. We're going to skip ahead to in the middle of the battle. The ship I'm trying to save is obviously screaming for help, and there's the bad guy. And basically I'm trying to shoot him down and hurt him before he finishes off my compatriots there. Okay, so we're almost done here. There we are. You'd think I'd taken him up by now, but no. As sometimes happens in this game, the enemies will come back later. They look to find another day. At the end of each mission, you get a little, hey, here, how you did, and a score. And if you want, you can always go back and replay missions, so you can try and beat your score later. Pure Platinum's actually pretty good, so I think I'm okay for now. So here's more of an example of actual combat. And in this case, where they're coming from all sides. This game is very difficult, I'm not going to lie. The normal difficulty is probably more like hard, as you expect in other games. Really difficult. I can see kids having a hard time with this game. Plus, you get just thrown in. It doesn't really tell you what you need to do most of the time. You get the odd hint, but for the most part, you're pretty much on your own. So you see, I made a fist, I made a sword, and now I've also been able to make a gun. As you unlock various characters in the game, you unlock different weapons with which you can take out enemies. And sometimes enemies can be hit with different kinds of weapons. Sometimes there's only one specific weapon, like in this case, the gun, being able to pick up those the enemy's projectiles and use them against them. And I've got quite a big light bar here, actually, but whenever you get hit, your friends get knocked out, and you have to go gather them up again. So as you can see, there's a little bit of violence in this game, obviously. But it's, if you watch certain Saturday morning cartoons or various cartoons on various channels, it's not all that different from what you see. Although there's a lot of fire, a lot of explosions, a lot of people just getting pounded, as you can see, with the slow-mo effect. But there's also areas where, and I'm not showing them in this video, where you can tell the game's aimed at maybe a little bit of an older audience because there are female characters in the game, and they dress up, I'll call it, in a sort of more sexy gear when they're in hero form. And a couple, like in one point when the girl with the whip, when she got introduced, they made a very big deal of slow-mo panning past her curves when they introduced her. So this is a Platinum Games game. Same folks who brought you Bayonetta. So that probably, if you played Bayonetta before, that probably doesn't surprise you. And in fact, there's a lot of similarities between this game and Bayonetta. Some button mashing, a lot of frantic combat, a lot of what the heck is going on here type of stuff. Sometimes I found it was just better to enjoy the ride and not really try to figure out what was going on with the story. Very Japanese in that sense. Yes, you're seeing properly. This is the dreaded and sometimes hated QuickTime event. Fortunately, this game's a little more forgiving than some games in terms of their QuickTime events. At least get a few seconds. In this case, I've got like 30 seconds to complete all these jumps, which even with not figuring out what I was supposed to do for a moment there, I'm going to get there in plenty of time. And yay, we're wonderful again. Hooray for us. Our heroes are wonderful. You get your score, and then you move on. Going to skip ahead now to... We haven't seen the whip yet. And this is another example of figuring out the right tool for the job at the right time. Good analytical thinking in this case. This guy's got spikes, and the only way you're going to beat a spike guy is to get his spikes off. And the only way you're going to get the spikes off him is to use the big whip. If I can get away from this guy. A little bit confined space makes it a little harder, so I hit him with the whip, hit him with a few times there. Got on his leg armor, and that's one piece. So you have to keep doing this for this guy. And, oh, he's rolling pin the ball. Get out of the way. And you'll see here in a minute, by drawing a circle around people with stars on them or people who are calling for help, I actually recruit them into my party. This gives me more people. This actually makes me stronger. I can draw bigger weapons. If I use all of them, I can make big guns, big whips, big fists. They're more powerful, obviously. So that's one benefit about trying to gather as many followers as possible. And the Wii U actually holds up really well with all the action going on the screen. It was really impressive with that, from that standpoint. Yeah, the armor's off. Now it's time to go to town on this guy. And we're just came with the whip. I'm going to get out of the way. He's actually stunned, so now's a good time for me to hit him with the big fist. And down he goes. And I'm just going to leave you with some fun dialogue from the game.
Here she is. That container I was telling y'all about. Once we switch on the puppy I got packed away in here, those jerks will never get their hands on the super reactor.
Do it already, Gramps. Turn that thing on before they take out the whole port.
Easy does it, son. This here's gonna take a good 10 minutes to fire up at least.
10 minutes? Dude, that's enough to make like 3 cup ramens.
Or you could make them all at once and be done in 3 minutes.
Shut up.
Red, emergency orders from Commander Nelson.
The Virgin Victory is holding off as much as we can, but some enemy ships have still gotten through to Stratoport. Proceed to the roof of the station and protect the super reactor at all costs.
Oh, who does he think he is? A girl needs a shower between assignments.
Ma chérie, I am sure you smell as sweet as a fresh plucked rose.
You do not even think about smelling me.
Aye, merci.
Com relays are being prioritized for tactical interferometry support. Keep a lid on the chatter.
Roger. Destination Stratoport roof. Team, let's move.
If the port falls, we are done for.
So then we don't let it fall. Nelson's got our backs.
Yeah, so there's funny moments, obviously, in here as well. It mixes a little bit of humor with the action. So that's our look at the Wonderful 101, at least the single-player story mode. So for GamerPops.com, I'm Jeff Peters. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.